Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Marco working with Functionland to bring you a guide on how to do the USB update process for the FxBlox Lite, aka the CM4 blocks. This process is only can only be done on the CM4 blocks, and you have one by checking out the barcode, and if it looks like this, then you're good to proceed. First thing we're gonna do is head over to the docs website because there we have the link to the latest release on our GitHub for the latest version of the CM4 blocks firmware that we're going to need. So we're going to need two files. We're going to need the one that's labeled USB update zip 1 and USB update zip 2. The reason we're going to need both of these files is because the full image is spread across both of them, and so we'll need both files to get the full image. Now, if you're on Windows, you'll go ahead and download the 7-zip so that we can extract the image from the zip folders. You'll want to download the appropriate zip for your operating system. If you have a 32-bit, get the 32-bit. If you have 64 like me, get the 64-bit. You'll click on the downloader. Once it's done, it'll ask you to approve the installation, and then you can just close that out. Next, we'll open up the file location, right click. If you're on Windows 11, you'll go to show more options and then click on 7-zip, and then you'll want to click on extract here. Now, when that is done, you should be able to see it. For me, I have a lot of download folders, but the file gets saved. Its last modified date is 4/13, so if you're like me, look for that date and then you'll be able to find it there. If you are on Mac, you can download the Unarchiver app from the App Store so you know it's safe. Go ahead and download that. After it's done, you don't have to hit open. All you got to do is navigate to your downloads folder, double click on the USB update zip 1, and it should start unzipping. All right, now whether on Windows or on Mac, you'll download the Balena Etcher Flash tool. This is an open source tool to write images like ISOs and image files to USB drives. So that's what we're going to need to get it onto the blocks. If you're on Windows, get the Windows installer. If you're on an Intel Mac, get the x86 installer. And since we are on an M2 Mac, I get the ARM64 installer. Perfect. If you're on Mac, you'll just wait for it to download and then move the application into the applications folder. If you're on Windows, you should just be good to open up the executable after it downloads. Now we'll open up our Balena Etcher app, and whether on Windows or on Mac, this process is ubiquitous. We'll click on Flash the file. We'll click on the image file that was extracted, and then we select our USB drive that we want to flash the image to. You just click flash and wait roughly 10 minutes for this process to complete, um, dependent upon how fast your computer is. All right, now we can take our USB drive, attach it to a USB-C adapter, plug it into the bottommost port of the blocks because this is the only port that'll accept a USB update in, and we can connect it to power. What's going to happen here is it's going to go through a series of lights, but ultimately when it is flashing green and red is the most critical part. You do not want to touch it or unplug it from power, or you'll have to do the advanced firmware update process, which is a little bit more arduous than this. So after that is done, you'll see it flash only red. It'll go red and off. When you're in that state, you're safe to remove the USB drive, unplug it from power, and you can continue with the next step. I'll have to pause here because I don't show how to format your SSD. Your SSD should already be formatted by this point, but we have guides, video guides, and written guides on how to do these steps in our documentations page. There are steps for Linux, Mac, and Windows, which you can follow. These have been tested and made sure that they work. If there's anything that doesn't work for you, post in our Telegram or Discord channel. Now that you have your SSD formatted properly, you can plug it into the bottom port of the blocks again. Only the bottom port. I have to make sure that is emphasized, and you'll go through this updating process for the blocks. You'll know it's done updating when you're A, able to see the hotspot on your phone, and B, you're getting this cyan/blue flashing light periodically. Now you're good to continue setting up your blocks in your app, but that will be in the next video. Hope this helped. See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.